I made a video demonstrating how to turn your gas grill into a flat top griddle. There was just one problem. It didn't get hot enough. And I solved that problem with your help. The viewers came in and gave me a ton of really good ideas on how to get the temperatures up. So I wanted to share them with you as well as test them to see how well they worked. And it's pretty safe to say that this video is not sponsored by the griddle manufacturer. I'm going to show you methods that they don't approve of as well as their recommended methods so we can contrast them and see how they work. I'm using my trusty Weber Genesis and Little Griddle pan for this test. I set 3 burners to medium and let the grill preheat for 10 minutes. When the time was up, I checked around and looked for warm spots on the grill using my infrared thermometer. Using the standard grill configuration, I got 282 degrees Fahrenheit. In between each test, I turned the grill off so it could cool. Another common suggestion was to cover the grates on 3 sides with aluminum foil to keep the heat from escaping. That improved things slightly, and the grill heated to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. To prove that I waited until things were cool, I grabbed the grates with my bare hands, and that was before I decided that gloves were a really good idea. In this test, I removed the flavorizer bars so that way the burner's radiant heat would heat the griddle directly. Then, I put the grill grates back on. And to my surprise, this made an astounding difference. The griddle got to the perfect temp of 355 degrees Fahrenheit. So those results surprised me. I'm actually running the test again. I'm doing the control with a standard grill configuration and without the flavorizer bars just to make sure that I didn't mess something up because the results were so different. In the second run, the temperatures were almost identical with them being a little bit hotter without the flavorizer bars. So that brings up the question, why does removing the flavorizer bars increase the temperature at the griddle? In order to answer that, we need to discuss the 2 purposes of the flavorizer bars. And the first purpose is to keep the drips from going into the burner tubes and clogging them. It'll make them last a lot longer. The other part is it evens out the heat across the grilling surface, which makes it so you don't have as many hot spots. The flavorizer bars make the heat more even across the surface because they block the radiant heat. So when they absorb that heat, it heats up the air around it, and a lot of that goes up and around the griddle. When you remove those, that radiant heat goes straight up and into the griddle surface, which evens it out across its own surface and makes it hotter. And that is the key and the reason why this one works. Another suggestion was to remove the grates and put the griddle directly on the flavorizer bars. It took some finagling to get it to lay flat, and ultimately I didn't do the test. I was concerned that the grease trap would be too close to the fire and might catch if you were to spill anything. So I emailed the manufacturer with your ideas, and I didn't mention that I have a YouTube channel so I could get an honest and open response. And I was amazed with how responsive Little Griddle was. They were quick to respond, and with every answer, they made sure that I knew that if I had any more questions or problems, that they were there to try something else right there with me. So after a little bit of back and forth, I realized that they had assumed that I was grilling with the lid shut. But I assumed that you didn't need the lid. You could leave it open just like you would have on a flat top griddle where you can look directly at your food. And before I started grilling, I read all the instructions and I didn't see anything about keeping the lid shut. It would have been nice if that was included and might have saved just a little bit of time. So I've used their method a few times and it works a lot better. If you keep the lid shut, you can keep the gas at medium while keeping the temperatures right in the range that you want to cook with. But there is one really big drawback. If you're cooking something like pancakes where it helps to be able to see your food and know exactly when to flip it, you can't with the lid shut. So you got to rely on temperature and time to get as close as you can before you take a peek and let the heat out. The Little Griddle is designed to work with your grill without having to modify it and still get a great cook. If you're willing to change things up a little bit and risk warping it, you can absolutely get the higher temperatures and still be able to look at your food. The choice is up to you.